Yeah. Okay. Yesterday we saw that they would warn, according to Rashi, the Amaratzim Kahanim to stay away from the Shulchan. Why? Because if it gets tamei, you would have to take the lechem upon him off, and it says lefanai tamid. It's supposed to be there tamid all the time. So they would go ahead. The Gemara had a problem. Why would you think it's can get tamei? Why don't we say that it's a klietz ha'aslan nachas? It's a klietz that doesn't move. So he said, in fact, it did move because they would take it out to show to the oiler regalim. Says the Gemara, even if it was stationary, why don't we say it's tamei? After all, it's covered with gold. It has an inlay with gold, right? And that's where we're up to. We're up to that. It says, so the bottom line. Let's go back to the bottom line on Chaf Vav Amid Beis. Elashani Shulchan. The Shulchan is different. The Rachmana Karya Eitz, because the Torah calls it Eitz. Now, where does the Torah call the Shulchan Eitz? It's in Yecheskel regarding the third Beis Hamikdash. Tichsiv Hamizbeach Eitz, the Mizbeach of Eitz. Now it says the word Mizbeach of Eitz. Sholish Amos Gavoa. It was 3 amos high. Va'orchu Shtayim Amos, and its length was 2 amos. V'miktzaisav loy. Va'orchu v'kiroisav Eitz. Vayidaber Elai. Zeh Shulchan Ashel Lefnei Hashem. Pesach Lefnei Hashem. So now that pasuk describes the mizbeach, and then it finishes off Zeh Vayidaber Elai. Zeh Shulchan Ashel Lefnei Hashem. So, Fred the Gemara, the obvious question: Pasach b'mizbeach. You begin describing the mizbeach, v'sayim b'shulchan, and then you call it the shulchan. What is it? Are we discussing the mizbeach azov, or are we discussing the shulchan? And the answer is we're really discussing the shulchan. And Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish, Dami Travaya, they both agree. Bisman shebeis hamikdash kayim, in the time when the Beis Hamikdash was around, mizbeach mechaper al adam. The mizbeach afforded the kapara for Adam. Person would go being his karbanis, and that would go ahead and give him his kapara. Achshav, now shulchan shel adam mechaper alav. Now it's the shulchan of a person that goes ahead and it's mechaper for him. That the person shulchan, Rashi says the shulchan that achnasas orchim. Tosfos says gadol koyach halagima, giving food. It's a tremendous thing to make sure that someone else is fed. So therefore, since the mizbeach can go ahead and bisman hazeh feed you, so that's where your kapara is from. So the beautiful shtickle Torah that I'll share with you, it'll give you something for what? For Purim. It's a really nice piece of Torah for Purim. There's a Rekeach describes in the Parsha of the Mayadim, in Pashas in Vayikra, in Parsha of Emor, and it goes through one after the other, goes through the Mayadim. Yeah, that's the Perich of Gimel. At the end, now Perich of Dalet begins. And it describes the pressing of the Shemen Zayizach to put on the menorah. Good. Next parsha. V'lakachta soiles. You should take fine flour. And you should bake 12 chalois, and therefore you put it right on the shulchan, what we call the lechem apanim. Says the Rekeach, this is an allusion to all the Yom Tovim. Now, all the Yom Tovim, they're right, with the exception of 2. Chanukah and Purim. Right? Chanukah and Purim. Purim is the Divrei Kabbalah. Chanukah is less than that even. It was the Ashkenaz Glazim attacking Chanukah, yeah? So, Bishlema, the Parsha of Shemen Zayizach, Kosas Lama Or for the Menorah, we can see the correlation to what the Chanukah. But what does the Lechem Apanim have to do with Purim? You know, this Parsha of the Lechem Apanim has to do with Purim. So the Chassam Sofer, I didn't send this out, but I did post it over here. Listen to this Gemara. Maybe let me just send the Gemara out so you'll all have it. Let me send this Gemara to you. It'll take 2 seconds. Okay, I sent. It's sent. Okay, so we're going to quote you again to answer. We're answering the question: what does the lechem aponim have to do what with Purim? What does lechem aponim have to do with Purim? So this is a Gemara we learned in Megillah, fellas. It's the Gemara we learned in Megillah. Okay. Now, and the thing, it's the third line down. It says, it says the second line down. Karshna, Shesar, Admasa, Tarshish. These are the nobles of Paras who are coming to Miyayitz Achashverosh what to do about Vashti's audacity. So Amar Ablevi, called Pasik Zeh al Shum Karbonis. This whole pasuk of Karshna, Shesha, Admasa, Tarshish is an allusion to Karbonis. Nemar Karshna, Karbonis Nemar. Karshna, Amru, what does that mean? Amru Malchei Shosnei Kodesh Baruch Hu. Called Pas Rebbeinu Shloim. Klum ikrivu l'fanecha karim b'nei shana kidera shekrivu Yisrael l'fanecha. Did any nation bring in front of you sheep, karshna, like sheep, karim, in front of you? So in other words, the malachim are coming with a taina. Because do something to go ahead and put the Purim story in action, right? Which would be the death of Vashti. So the pneumius of this Gemara is not speaking about per se necessarily only the nobles of Paras, of Persia. It's the Malachim who are coming to say, Karshana, Karim, they bring Kabbanis in front of you, they bring sheep in front of you. Go save them. Next. Shesar, that's Lashon Shtei. Klum ikriu l'fanecha shtei soirim, guys, the word Shesar, put it together. Two toirim, two does. Admasa, klum banu l'fanechem is beach adama, admas from Adlashon adama, Tarshis, klum shimshu l'fanecha bebigdei kahuna, like the Lashon of Tichsibahu Tarshish v'shayim v'yashvei. These are the stones of the ephod. Meres, that's one of the, again, in the Megillah. Klum mirsu b'dam l'fanecha, right? Did anyone, by Yom Kippur, they stirred the blood in front of you? Marsana, klum mirsu b'menachas l'fanecha. Mimuchan, klum echinu shulchan l'fanecha. Did anyone prepare the shulchan in front of you? Vayom Mimuchan is, who is that? Tana Mimuchan is Haman. So, l'chora, ultimately, who was the victor, fellas, in convincing Kadosh Baruch Hu to go ahead and put the sequence in motion of the death of Vashti? It was Memuchan. And what was Memuchan's taina? Does anyone go ahead and set a shulchan in front of you, right? The shulchan in front of you, not kabbanis, the shulchan. Says beautifully the Chassam Sofer is geshmak as anything based upon our Gemara, right? We don't have kabbanis anymore to Mechapa. What do we have? We only have the shulchan. What was on the shulchan? The lechem aponim. So therefore, the Chassam Sofer, we can understand now the Rekeach. Why in Parshas Emor the lechem aponim alludes to Purim? Because ultimately it was the shulchan that caused the death of Vashti. It was the taina of Memuchan that is in the schus of the shulchan you should go ahead and kill her. And it's very geshmak. Why was that the best taina? Because it has nothing to do with the Beis Hamikdash being around. We all have shulchanos. We all go ahead and have tables which we can perform chesed from. So therefore, it was the ultimate winning taina of the Malach and Shemayim. In fact, I found beautiful, guys, in the beginning of Truma in Parshat Rabbeinu B'chai, he says, fantastic. He says, Chasidim, and that's Rabbeinu B'chai. These are real Chasidim. They used to have their coffins fashioned out of their dining room tables. They used to have their coffins fashioned out the dining room tables based upon this Gemara. That the Achameis Mishana, the shulchan, the shulchan should testify in their behalf that what for their kapara. So a beautiful piece of Torah we put together for what for Purim, and maybe you might even remember it. Who knows?
Yeah, didn't come and sell to Mordechai for some bread that he wrote these permanent, that he owned them as a nether for bread.
Yeah. Okay. That he sat by? Wow. He's not. He was stifter. Okay. Okay, we said all the Kalim fellas had doubles and triples, and we said that the Kalim Kabal Tuma but the mizbechus were not kabel tumah. The mizbech hazov and mizbech and the choshes were not kabel tumah. Mizbech and the choshes tichsiv, mizbech adama tasali, a mizbech adama you should make for me. Mizbech of adama you should make for me, and adama is not what? Is not makabel tumah. Mizbech hazov and mizbech of gold tichsiv haminoira hamizbechais. It says the pasuk of Midbar, the menorah and the mizbechais. Ishkis mizbechais zelizeh. So once I've established the mizbech and the choshes was called the mizbech adama, and it's not makabel tumah. Memela, the mizbech hazov, which is hookish, which is compared to the mizbech and the choshes, also would not be makabel tumah. Okay, now what? Let's look back in the Mishnah, guys. Says kol hakelim them in the mizbech they need tefillah except the mizbech and the son choshes. Nation karka divrei Rabbi Eliezer, because everyone says they're like a karka. Since they're like karka, and karka is not makabel tumah, the mizbechos is not makabel tumah. The chachamim maimim b'fnei shru mitzupim, says the chachamim, because they were overlaid. Now, are they arguing with Rabbi Eliezer? Are they agreeing with Rabbi Eliezer? In other words, according to the flow, you would think that they're tahar. Just like Rabbi Eliezer said that karka, it's tahar. They retorted, "Hey, it's covered with gold. It's also tahar." Fred, the Gemara question: Adarabba, even the mitzupim ninu, since they're mitzupim, since they're overlaid with gold, or in the choshes mitamo. That's not a reason to say it's tahar. That's a reason to say what? It's tameh. And for the Gemara, add one word. The chachamim mitamayin. Rabbi Eliezer, you say the mizbachos are what? Are tahor. The chacham say they're not. Why? Because they are overlaid and they are tamei. The chacham, Rabbi is saying another teretz. No, the chachamim agree with Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbanan Rabbi Eliezer karmi. My daitach Rabbi Eliezer. Mishundim mitzupim. In other words, what's your reason that you think that you have to compare it to karka, guys? Without the comparison to karka, you would be forced to say they're tamei. Why? Because mitzupim. So it says that's what the Chacham is saying. My daitcha, why do you think that you have to say it's like karka to even matar it? Because it'd be tamei, because it's mitzupim? No, because of the pasuk that says it's like eights. The overlay is bottled to the eights, and therefore it's eights, and therefore it is what? It is tahar, as mitzupim. Okay. Question is then, are they arguing saying you don't need karka? That's right. Rabbi Eliezer, Talmidei Chachamim Einor Shel Gehenim Sholat Tispan. We end the Masechta on a beautiful note. The Talmidei Chachamim, the Or of Gehenim, the fire of Gehenim, will not go ahead and take hold of them. Kal v'chomer misalamandra. It's a kal v'chomer from the infamous salamandra. Now let's meet the salamandra. Look at Rashi, guys. Salamandra sounds exactly like salamander. Chaya handivreis mina or. It's a creature that's created from fire. If you have a fire burning for 7 years in a row in a certain place, you will have this creature come out. Tosis says is a cholid va'achbar, is a achbar de metaga salamandra. It seems to be some type of rodent. I asked the resident expert in the Stern family about the salamander. So he said to me, well, actually, there are certain salamanders that come out when you light a log and it goes on fire. They're called fire salamanders. You may have heard the term, a fire salamander. Look it up. So it seems like they look like they're born from the fire.
They're orange.
No, that's a regular salamander. There are fire salamanders. You're talking about the regular orange ones that, no, they're like fire salamanders. Remember that good feeling of finding a salamander when after the rain, you go look in the country. It's an exciting thing. You'd give them food, they'd be dead in a minute. They would always die. Okay. Anyway, so this salamander, what's unique about the salamander? Right? Uma salamandra. It's born as a result of fire. Hasach midama. Anyone would go ahead and smear its blood on them. Ein or shalat this boy. The or does not take hold of you. It seems the salamander's blood has an asbestos-like quality to be able to protect you from fire. Talmidei Chachamim shall call gufan eish. Talmidei Chachamim who themselves are fire. They themselves are fire. Dichsiv halakoi devari keish no Hashem. My words are like fire. And Talmidei Chachamim learn Torah. So madach the salamander, which is blood, can protect you. Certainly the Talmidei Chachamim, which is eish, you can go ahead and There's your fire salamander, right? There you go. There you go. Al-achas kama v'kama, certainly what? Definitely in the bog. Al-achas kama v'kama, that what? That the Torah can protect you. Amrish Lakish, Eino shel Gehenna shaletis b'Paishe Yisrael, or Gehenna will not be shalet on Paishe Yisrael, people who do Averis. Kavachayim Mizbeach Hazav. Ma Mizbeach Hazav. Sheinulov Elikoive Dina Zahav. The thickness of the gold, of the overlay of Mizbeach Hazav was very thin, like a dinar. And nonetheless, it was burnt day and night, every year. Kamashanim Ein Or Shaletis Boy. The Or does not take hold of it. Paishe Yisrael Shemilei Mitzvahs Karimain. A Paishe Yisrael who are full of mitzvahs like a pomegranate. T'chsiv Kipela Charimain Rakasech. Like the seeds of a pomegranate are your rakosech, are your empty ones. Like the seeds of the pomegranates are your rakosech, are those that are empty. I'll take your rakosech, do not read it as empty. Sorry. So now, Al Tikre, do not read it what? As reikoseich, el reikonim shebecha. Alachas kama v'kama. Yes, that's a great pshat. Okay, anyway, I heard a pshat from my son Simcha. He found it in a sefer called Bilvave Mishnah Evner, and the name of Rav David Pravalsky. That's how the Mashkia, the Mashiva Panovich. He said, how can you say something is full and something is empty? You're calling even the empty ones among you are full of mitzvahs. Now, you're either full or empty. They don't seem to be the terms that go together. So he said the rimon is a very unique fruit because if you open it up, it's not one component, it's a bunch of little seeds that are, in other words, you open up an apple, it's an apple. You open up an orange, it's an orange. You open up a pomegranate, it's a bunch of individual little seeds. Okay. The whole purpose of mitzvahs is not to be an individual. The purpose of mitzvahs is what is to be full. The rake means, it doesn't mean you're empty. It means you're empty from the purpose behind the mitzvah, is to go ahead and be miyachis together to come to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You can be malay like the pomegranate, but you can also be rake like the pomegranate. The fact that it's the individuals. Our purpose is that's make something that is rake and make it malay in completely to come together as a whole. Okay, Bez Hashem, Hadron Alecha, Chaim V'Koytz, Chagigah, make a siyum maybe like the Shabbos or next week. Penny Fisher wants to make a siyum next week. Okay. Penny Fisher, is that correct, Penny? Penny wants to. Yeah. What? What do you mean? Wednesday night is Purim next week. Okay, before, so it's got to be earlier in the week. So we'll have a siyum on Seder Zorim. Bez Hashem, tomorrow we're going to start the Yavamis. It would be very useful to get that book, get a hold of that book. And again, Bez Hashem, I'm looking forward to the challenge. And Bez Hashem, we should do this together, okay? And Mazel Tov on guys and hanging in there and finishing say the Mayit. Very, very impressive. Right?